Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I'm here with the CEO and the founder of Yarnit, and we're going to be talking about generational AI today. So without further ado, I'd love to hear more about your company. If you could introduce yourself and your company to the audience today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Andy. And, it's a pleasure. Quickly about myself, I've been in the industry for the last 15 years, started my career as a consultant, then joined startup, happened to fall in love with AI and sales, which is my primary domain, sales and marketing. And eventually, all the technology love that we had around AI and what we had built in our previous startup sort of, got together to address a problem statement that we actually grappled with, marketing and largely marketing at scale, right? Because uh, many times we build fantastic products, but we do not take the story forward. We do not take it to the masses that people understand what we are building, why we are building a product, and what problem actually it solves for them. Those are the questions that we kind of didn't address in our previous gig, if you call it, right. And of course technology was certainly in our wheelhouse, that we knew how to use AI, how to use generative AI, etc., etc. But we wanted to specifically focus on challenge of content. How do we sort of help uh, marketeers and content creators create amazing stories, personalized stories which speaks to their brand, speaks to their audience, and do it at scale.
Yeah.
That's primarily the genesis of Yarnit and what exactly we are up for.
Great, yeah, and it's great to see that you've simplified and used it in a way that's important for everybody. Everybody needs more content marketing, right? I mean, look at what we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
today. But having tools like yours that have a real application to it using AI, it's really helpful for a lot of businesses out there to save time while still
right.
keeping up with other businesses in terms of the ability to make content and the quality of the content they're able to put out. So tell us
Absolutely.
how you got started with your career. Like, how did you get into technology and eventually artificial intelligence to where you started Yarnit?
That's a fascinating story. Fascinating for my own good. At times I believe, how did I reach here? Because I started my career as a pharmacologist, had nothing to do with technology or AI. Of course, had a little bit of statistics as background, but then joined consulting. Was part of Genpact Consulting for a long time. Had my own portfolio. Was consulting different pharma CPG companies, largely around analytics, technology at that point. And then I moved into a startup called as Limbic. We had a very successful run there. In my previous startup, joined them as a founding team member, and that's exactly where I kind of fell in love with AI, because we're very proud to say that probably we were the first one to build an enterprise grade AI based analytics product out of India. Way back, I'm talking almost almost 8 years back from now. And that's
Nice.
exactly where we started getting familiar with technologies. Of course, a lot of people woke up to generative AI literally last year, but we have been using language models, and then which eventually became large language models right from 2016, 2017 onwards. And that's the familiarity of it. And like I said, sales and marketing has been my wheelhouse, if you can call it, right? And with the way we wanted to sort of move from there, our understanding of technology, and wanted to sort of apply into marketing, something that we kind of struggled in our previous company. Uh, Not when I say struggle, the struggle was not creating content or talking about us or about our product, but eventually doing at scale. How do we sort of have those means, those resources for us to sort of take that story forward to large scale, right? And that's how we sort of, a struggle and a capability kind of came together to form Yarnit,
Yeah.
right? So from my own personal journey, if you think of it, every step added to where I am right now. uh, Started with analytics, got into AI, got into startups, did the whole 9 yards of startup, right from building the product to finding an exit with the startup. And
Mhm.
then eventually that's how Yarnit happened, post our exit, our acquisition by another company. We of course ensured that the product is doing well, and and it has found the right scale before you know I was ready to take the next plunge.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds like all that experience over the years, you really, really understood the problem and were really close to it. A lot of the
Yep.
best products and entrepreneurs I've met, really, understand the problem. They've, experienced it themselves. They're not just going out, jumping on the AI bandwagon. I mean, you've been in the space for a while and you've seen the
Right.
application of the problem in the real world in terms of being able to scale content marketing and whatnot. So I guess, generative AI, like we mentioned, is a big buzzword. A lot of people are jumping into it. They
Yeah.
woke up to it last year and they said, "Wow, I want to do an AI startup." Where do you see the opportunity standing today, really, and where do you see it going over the next few years?
Yeah, I would like to believe it's more than a buzzword right now, because a lot of that has gotten into the practice, right? A lot of customers are using it. Uh, I personally believe that it's one of those watershed moments in technology, right? And if you are in any function within your company, be it marketing, be it sales, be it HR, be it coding and development and technology, I think generative AI has been that one technology which has probably touched every such function, right? And that gives that whole mass appeal to it, right? And practical usability of it to take it into our business processes, make things easier and better for our customers, right?
Mhm.
So definitely, I see it's not a buzzword anymore. It's certainly something in practice. A lot of companies are making very successful products using these technologies, and
Yep.
certainly, solving customer problems faster and better.
Yep. Yeah,
When
that's
it comes to what would happen in the next 5 years, it's too difficult. I don't want to be
hopefully
a
good stuff.
fortune teller. But there are massive stuff that's happening in the space of generative AI. If you look at, audio visual as a content is
Mhm.
something that we'll see a lot. Of course, the large language models and the way generative AI has evolved so far, it has taken massive uh, steps when it comes to understanding text, generating human, understanding the context of subjects. But I
Mhm.
think if you see, slowly things are moving towards hardware. Slowly things are moving towards different media, right? Whether it is audio, whether it is visual. Yeah, so I'm very interested, if you ask me, Andy, to understand how two things, right? When the software power of generative AI and all that we are, constantly working with, will connect with the hardware of it, right?
That's
And
interesting.
that's where you will see a lot of interactive storytelling coming into place, right? And then how we can sort of work with people, give them more immersive experience
Mhm.
when it comes to the power of these technologies.
Yeah, that's a great point that he brought it up because I was talking with an entrepreneur today, and I can't share his
Yeah,
idea, but he had an idea that was hardware and AI related. So that's really the next step is putting the brains inside of inanimate objects and having them do more. So I think
right,
your point, I totally agree. There's a lot more to be done in that area.
right, absolutely, absolutely.
Great. So I guess what considerations, sticking to the realm of marketing, I guess, not getting into
Right.
Terminator and some robots, I guess. um, what considerations should a company make when integrating AI into their marketing strategy?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, if you ask me, because look, I think if you look at generative AI, and I will try to be not very technical about it. It has to be, when you make that choice of taking a tool or a product into your marketing strategy or your marketing operations. I think we literally have to have the same lenses or criteria as you would take a new person in your team,
Mhm.
which means they should understand the brand, they should understand the legacy of the brand, right? Two, how conscious these technologies are, because your consumer choices are evolving every day.
Mhm.
Their buying behavior are changing every day, and these models cannot be static, right? It cannot be stagnant, and therefore, are they aware, or at least they can communicate with whatever
Mhm.
is happening real time at that particular moment, right? So one, of course, it has to value legacy. It has to understand your data, your customers. Two, it should be conscious, right? And third, as simple as the whole security part, right? And the security part has been a concern for many companies, as in how secure these models are, how secure, whether it is whether it has been trained on the right data or not. Is it adding biases to whatever statement we are making, whatever content we are generating of it? And to that extent, I think we have to be very, very sure that whatever we are using these technologies for, there has to be a human in the loop, so that we are those choices that we are making, those production power that we are generating of these technologies, are
Yeah.
also in the right hands.
Yeah, and it's very important, especially for staying on brand. I mean,
Right.
ChatGPT is good at coming up with a body of content, but sometimes it comes up with
Right.
some pretty funny things. So you got to make sure you go through, even if you are using it, maybe it can do 80% of the lifting. You need to go through. You
Right.
need to fine tune that copy. You need to make sure the voice is on brand as much as possible. And
Right.
another issue that keeps coming up is copywriting, because this thing's going out and
Yep.
looking over the internet to like pull on the data and formulate it what it thinks it should write.
Right.
And
Yep.
it has no idea about copywriting, at least today in its current form.
No, absolutely. And the last consideration that we have seen our customers make is that how much of these systems are active versus passive. Do they always need to be nudged, right, to get a recommendation, to get a generation out of them, versus how much of these systems are nudging us, right, as in giving us the right nudge at the right decision points, whether, like you said, uh, copywriting can be a vanilla copywriting, but can you help me in that process to make me sharper, to make my content sharper, right? uh, Also, even in terms of decisions that we take in our funnel, right, how do we ensure these technologies are not only passive but also active and giving us the right nudge
Mhm.
at the right time?
That's a great point. Like Grammarly, as an example. I mean, I'm not sure how
Yeah.
they say it's AI, but I'm not sure like how AI it is. But it is a very valuable tool, and I've seen it to be fairly accurate. Once again, it does
Right.
have a couple of funny recommendations, but that's an example of an automated active tool that's there to help you in your writing if you need it. Although
Right.
you don't want to rely on it 100%.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, there is always the human ingenuity which has to take precedence, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, what you're trying to do with tools like these is basically help you get things faster. Work through massive data that we may not have the luxury of time to
Yeah.
go through that massive heaps of data to understand what is that my customer is looking for right now. And
Yeah.
that's where you would see this technologies coming up, helping us doing our things better.
And especially trend analysis too, right? I mean, you could
Oh
pour through
yes,
the data
absolutely.
and it could just find it for you, and you can make the decision based on what you're finding from the data that it helps
Right.
process and put together for you at an amazing rate.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. I guess what other ways can businesses use AI in their marketing today?
Yeah, I think I'll try to sort of keep that question a little more uh, practical, because, or the answer more practical, because I'm going to sort of give you not experiences that we see as a company from our different customers, right? One, the first thing has to be content operations or content marketing,
Yeah.
right? Because that is exactly where we have seen our customers succeed
Mhm.
and create personalized content, high quality content at scale,
Yeah.
right? And it has been a winner, whether you're writing the next SEO rich blog, whether you're responding or trying to create your next email campaign. How do you ensure you can execute your campaigns faster, right?
Yeah.
And better at the same time. Two, I think one of the biggest wish of every marketer has been always around moment marketing, right?
Yeah.
How do you capture the moment real time? How do you keep the lights on with a certain narrative that you hold as a brand, right?
Yeah.
Now, moment marketing as such, if you see, has taken, has become much more real with tools and technologies like generative AI,
Mhm.
because it has given you that capability, like you said, to spot a trend, to identify a trend, respond to that moment or that trend in real time, right? So you don't have to wait for a day or a week to respond to a trend. You can literally do that in 30 seconds, right?
Mhm.
I think the third and the fourth, where we see one, of course, is happening a lot in the digital marketing side, especially in the performance marketing side, right? As in, you've seen customers grapple with content that is needed to execute different performance marketing campaigns and also to sort of optimize these campaigns.
Mhm.
The power of these technologies, whether it is to analyze the data, to find out the information, to generate content, is only making life simpler for them,
Mhm.
right? And if you look at the last one, has been a lot about how do you give that experience, uh, or more like conversational experience, buying experience for your customer, right? And the conversational commerce has been there for a long time, but if you see a lot many more brands have been able to do much more meaningful conversations
Yep.
with their customer before they actually make a buy, right?
Yep.
How do you understand their needs better and therefore respond to their need? It's not always, you may not have the product, but can you at least respond to their needs with empathy,
Yep.
right? So conversational commerce is certainly another big trend that is seeing a massive rise with generative AI. So
Yep.
four things, like I said, content marketing, moment marketing, your performance marketing, and the fourth one would be your conversational commerce.
Wow, that's a
And
great feedback right there. Oh, go ahead.
and this is all real because we are seeing our customers do and succeed on all of them every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. I like how you laid that out. A lot of people haven't talked about the conversational e-commerce, as you say. And the use of
Yeah,
chatbots, even right, like at the top of the funnel from a customer service angle. You could have
right.
these chatbots are very good these days to answer like very simple questions to kind of get you to where you need to go, at least as a routing tool at a minimum. So you're not trying to research through the FAQs all by yourself. And
Yeah,
worst case
yeah,
scenario, you could
absolutely.
always in touch with an agent, right? And in an on-demand
Right.
world, people really appreciate that level of service.
Yeah, and it's also about having that empathy. At times when you interact with bots, or at least what used to happen a year earlier, or or year two, you could literally find out that you are interacting with a robot because
Mhm.
some of those questions were, yes or a no. But now, if you see with the information that brands have on their product, on the FAQs, a lot of that can be used to respond to the user queries much more efficiently.
I guess do you, based on your history getting Yarnit out there, do you have any recommendations for startups around growth hacks maybe they can use to get their company out there and start to build their brand profile?
Yeah, growth hacks, of course. One, you know, I'm a firm believer on the fact that we certainly have to build the product with customers because
Yeah.
uh, a lot many times we are trying to catch the next best model that we can get, the best algorithm, the best things that we can all create. But if you are trying to sort of build a successful product, it has to speak to the need of your customer, right?
Yep.
And therefore, my personal belief has always been around how do we solve for that need or the job that the customer is trying to solve for, right?
Yep.
And I think, was your question more specific to sales and marketing, or
Yeah, but
it's
no, but
one
I like where
overall?
you're going with this one actually, because that's the biggest problem in sales and marketing is that product market fit, right? Does your product
Right,
solve a problem, a massive problem for people in a simple way that doesn't
right.
require very much effort or time or money from them, or at least
You
the time and money is worth investing in using your product.
and as a matter of fact, in our company within Yarnit, we are a big fan of jobs to be done as a framework, right? Which basically says, hey, the job is not changing. I have to go from point A to point B. The
Mhm.
means of going could be a bus, could be a cycle, could be a train, could be a plane, and you can use multiple tools while you're making going from point A to point B, right?
Yep.
And and that has been the mantra for us, saying how do we take the journey for our customer and try to make it smarter, easier for them to get their jobs done.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everybody's
Right.
trying to get what they need to get done. And if you can do it in a way that's more efficient or provide a better
Right.
experience overall, you're going to win that customer, every day.
Yeah, and on the sales and marketing side, since you asked for it, I think Yarnit as a brand and as a company, I think we are a firm believer in doing very strategic partnerships. So that of course you would have your own strategies of selling your product, marketing your product globally, locally, within the countries that you serve to. But partnership has been one of the key functions for us, or the key strategies, and of course, Nacho is a part of that execution of that strategy itself, which basically it gives us a voice, gives you uh, access to a much larger market, right? At times, it's basically how do you empower and how do you sort of synergize with a partner to sort of unlock those markets that they might be very good at, right?
Yeah.
And you may not have a easy access to that, right? So partnership, whether it is our affiliate partners, resellers, marketplaces, partnership has been the core to what we do at Yarnit.
Yeah, I totally agree, and especially from a B2B standpoint as well.
Right.
Every
Yeah.
company has these overlaps with other companies, and there's these creative
Right.
ways that you should be working together to kind of help, raise the tide for all boats, as we say it over here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
developing these win-win partner-led growth strategies, is effective
Right.
and helpful for both companies. I mean, we're helping, introduce you to our audience and vice versa, by doing
Absolutely.
this type of content here. And heck, we're having a fun conversation here, so it's a win-win-win if you ask me.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm like, is this even work? Just kidding. So I guess what challenges I guess did he face as a company in the early days, and how did he overcome them?
Yeah. I think one of the I think I briefly touched upon that problem, where at times when you're building products, building very technology forward products, you often get caught into the product.
Yeah,
You fall in love with what you're building. You fall in love with the technology and what's the new exciting AI model that you've built, uh, losing the focus on what exactly the customer is looking for,
yeah,
right? And then what's their need? What is how can your product make their life easier, job easier, right?
yeah,
And with Yarnit, I think that is something that we have very consciously tried not to do, right?
mhm,
Uh, Not try to sort of catch into every fancy uh, new advancements of AI
yeah.
uh, that we see every day. If you return to any social media or any other newsletter, you'll probably find an AI technology every day or new advancements. But I think we have to keep ourselves a little rooted to the customer needs.
Yep. Yeah, it's important to love your customer more than you love your product or your features, right? I mean, because at
Oh
the end of the day,
yes,
you're solving somebody's problem. That's the business.
absolutely. I think if you can be detached, a little detached from your product while you're building it, it's
Mhm.
very difficult. It's very difficult because you, of course, fall in love with what you're creating.
Yeah.
But I think very consciously we have to sort of keep ourselves detached and less emotional about it. What we are building, and rather focus on who we are solving it for and what are their problems.
Yep, that's a great point. I had a company back in the day with some friends, but we ended up becoming good friends out of this. But we had a company called Spot Survey where it was text message
Mhm.
based delivery for basically online surveys. And we were shopping it with customers, and the engineers are really excited about this feature they created to like deliver surveys via SMS. But when you talk to the customers, they didn't really care. They already had online surveys and QR codes, so we weren't really innovating upon anything. So there was no
Yeah,
compelling
yeah,
need for them to switch over to us. And,
yeah,
frankly, our analytics and question sets weren't even up to par with online surveys. So it was, that mismatch there, falling in love too much with what you've built in the feature and trying to
Mhm.
convince everybody else to buy into that rather than, listening to the customer and designing your product experience backwards from there.
Right, right. You're so right about it.
Awesome. Well, great. And I guess let's talk more about Yarnit. Actually, how does I'd love if you could explain to our audience how Yarnit works, and
Right.
why people should pick up Yarnit today for 25% off in the Nacho marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. I think discount aside,
Yeah. Yep.
discount aside, and the promotion aside, I
Yep.
think we excel at creating personalized content, right? As in, if you look at content as a space, I can't underscore enough how important is that in today's market, in today's scheme of digital marketing, for you to sort of ensure that your customers are hearing from you, your customers are aware of your, product, and but at the same time, there is a lot of clutter. There is a lot of clutter. There's a lot of content that we come across, and at the same time, what is important therefore is that how do we ensure that every piece of content that you're creating is speaking to your audience and their needs, as
Yep.
simple as that, right? And two, if you look at, brands are not built in a day. It's your legacy that you leave. It's
Yep.
basically what, as a consumer of your brand, what I hear, what I read of your brand. Now some of that has to be taken in consideration when you're defining your content marketing strategy, to
Yep.
ensure that it's speaking for the brand, it is speaking to the audience, right? And
Yep.
that's actually the moat of Yarnit, if you can think of it. The
Yep.
second thing, I think, if you see Yarnit as a product, we have always tried to, like I said, focus on the journey. Uh, Probably we are the only connected solution that you see where you can literally execute content right from the point where you're thinking of an idea, as in what should be my next content, what should be my next campaign that I want to create, to executing product, producing that particular content, publishing it, and measuring that content to understand, did it actually work for you, what could you have done better, and what is that something that we can feed back into our content strategy further. So two things that I wanted to certainly leave with you and the audience is, we are very bullish on personalized marketing,
Yep.
personalized content, and two, having a connected experience, so that instead of building silos, how do we ensure that when we build content, it is actually having a feedback loop for me to make it better every time?
Yep. Yeah. Don't just produce content for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. And then yeah, exactly. How do you tie it all together so you have a consistent message? Because, to your
Yeah,
point, I think consistency is very important for branding and building
right,
that legacy. It's what people continually remember and understand
right.
about your brand.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Well, what's next for Yarnit over the next 5 years? Any sneak peeks or tips you can give us there? That's not too not too confidential, of course.
I think the next 5 years are going to be certainly interesting. I think we are at that. One, if you look at the technology space, it's certainly evolving. Things are changing, and we have taken massive stride when it comes to, taking this technology and solving for customer and their needs. Right. I think for us, some of the interesting stuff I think would be coming from how we sort of solve for more use cases that our customers are dabbling with today. Their different needs within the marketing space, right? Two, our focus would be a little bit more towards A/B content, because what Yannick does today is solving for your graphics, solving for text, but we still do not do a lot of video marketing.
Mhm.
You'll see some of that coming on the product very, very soon, and the idea is to sort of now make it even deeper into the different problem statements that people have in different industries specific to marketing, right?
Yep.
And when I say specific to marketing, whether I'm an e-commerce customer or I'm a B2B supply chain player, how do we understand their needs better so that we can verticalize this solution, make it even more nuanced experience for them?
Yep. That's great. Yeah, looking forward to the growth of your guys' company. And I just had this question pop into mind, but where'd you get the name Yarnit
Sure.
from? Is it from people saying, "Darn it, I don't have a good content marketing strategy. I need Yarnit." Or how'd you guys come up with that?
We actually ran a campaign like that. Darn it, I
We
need
did?
Yarnit. Um,
Nice.
but no,
Darn it, I
I
need
think if you
Yarnit.
look at,
Yeah.
yeah, the campaign was quite viral actually. But if you ask me, I think there is. So we took the inspiration from yarns. Yarns also means small short stories or short stories,
Mhm.
small narratives or short stories rather. And if you look at the process of storytelling, it's almost stitching together things, right? It's spinning a narrative. You spin a story, right? So we took the verb and the noun of yarn and yarding to form
Yeah.
Yarnit.
That's pretty cool. Okay. I get it now. Yeah, and that slogan's great too. So whoever came up with that, keep doing it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
JD, it's been great today. A lot of great insights came out of this, and I think this is going to be really helpful to a lot of founders, a lot of decision makers out there in the SaaS industry. So once again, we really
Right.
appreciate you coming on today, and look forward to growing this partnership and collaborating with you guys, far into the future. For us, it's not a one-time thing to bring on new partners. We always look to work with you guys over the next few years and grow together. So
Absolutely. It has been my pleasure. It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
thanks, you too, bud. Bye.